Continuing on now with obscenity, which is an area that I published in, by the way, I published an article that tried to demonstrate that our laws in this country actually create what they were designed to prevent, which is a fixation on lurid or vivid or obscene imagery. So, for example, if you have a person whose words are bleeped out, like you can find on The Simpsons or lots of television shows or Howard Stern on radio, what happens? What happens to the person listening or viewing that content? They are presented with a puzzle, and they try to plug in what is the missing word, the word that's being bleeped out. In so doing, they are more exposed to the vividness of that imagery than if the word had just been uttered out loud. And so a lot of my research is in this area, and one of the court cases that I want to mention now that fits in with this is in 1999, Larry Peterman. 1999, he was an owner of a video store in Utah, and he was charged with renting obscene films. I was starting to talk about that before the video cut out. And so what he did was he decided to prove that there was an appetite for obscene films. So he went across the street to a hotel and he got the data from them on adult films that were being rented by people who were staying at the hotel, and it was far heavier traffic-wise, more people-wise, than people renting films from his store. And so he was acquitted by the jury because he was able to prove that. Let's talk now about the regulation of the media industry, because it is harsher for broadcasters than it is for print media. So generally speaking, radio and TV, they have many more regulations regarding obscenity and all kinds of other areas of the law that they have to comply with than print media. Print media can actually print obscenity, but broadcast media, if you do, I tell you, there's that $300,000 fine from the FCC that you always face. Now let's move on to talk about copyright and fair use. Copyright and fair use, which is really difficult to enforce in an internet age where everything is digital and can be copied so easily, cut and pasted all the time. There are 3 laws, though, that help bring clarity to this area. The first one is in 1998. 1998, the Copyright Extension Act, that protects a work for 70 years after a person's death. So if you write a song, you're protected for 70 years. And then the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in 1998, that expanded copyright materials to digital recordings as well. So same thing, 75 years. And then in 2002, there's a group led by a Stanford University law professor, and he wanted to create material that could be used by people for free. And so he's called this website and the organization and the depository for these materials, he's called them the Creative Commons. Creative Commons, and that allows people to get information, including some people get information from Creative Commons for their coursework in universities. So now we're going to finish up with the Telecommunications Act, which is the most significant act in law in recent history for broadcasters because it deregulated the industry. And it had a lot of various effects on broadcasting, but the main one was it allows fewer companies to own more properties. That's what the Telecommunications Act does. So for example, if you go to the Lehigh Valley, you have the iHeartMedia Group, and the iHeartMedia Group, which is also known as the Clear Channel Company, is what it was before it renamed as iHeart. They own 4 radio stations. They own WZZO, they own B104, and they own 2 other radio stations in that market. It's called a cluster. That's what a result of the Telecommunications Act is, and it has allowed fewer companies to own more properties. That's why we have the rise of these giant global media conglomerates. So this end will wrap up our discussion on media law. Have a great day.